Well, it's the most
I'm an
important
old
thing
timer, Bob.
that you can get a hold of, and that email version, anything that you need to know is there.
Okay.
Yeah. Call Sandra. She'll send you a complimentary copy.
Okay.
But
That's
Bob,
John's better half.
but Bob, I mean, this is a simple fact of life. I mean, we know this for a fact. There are 3 banks who shall remain anonymous that are short a third of the world's gold production as we speak.
And 2 of them are short, I don't know, 90% of silver
Yeah.
production. I mean, the whole thing stinks to high heaven. And the only way it's going to be solved is probably revolution. Because
One
you
more
saw the
point.
votes that are taking place. I mean, they're not going to do anything about anything. They're going to do everything they want to do. And the law doesn't mean anything. They control the courts. And the game's over. You know, the only question is when does the shooting start?
One more point, if I could, or 2 more points. That's it. So people now know that the markets are manipulated. And the other funny thing that people know is they know global warming's a scam because we haven't actually, the Earth hasn't warmed since '98.
But they're not paying any attention. Look, Dave, they're not paying any attention to that. Bob, in his most recent newsletter, said the House did it. They succumbed to the biggest tax increase in history for Americans. The American Clean Energy and Security Act passed 219-212 by Congress, the worst legislation since CAFTA, NAFTA, the Income Tax, and the Federal Reserve Act.
Yeah,
Trillions
let's-
more in taxes and millions of job losses, a 1,200-page piece of legislation that not one congressman or woman read. If allowed to be passed in the Senate, it will be the greatest economic threat to Americans in history. Cost to the Americans will be 20% of disposable income. That is, if you have anything to dispose of left. They plan on emptying your pockets entirely. An increase in gasoline of 77 cents a gallon, a doubling of every electric bill in the country, and these taxes go to governments, of which will go to fund the UN and the International Monetary Fund. Now,
There's people that are saying that it's going to die in the Senate, though. You guys think it'll pass?
Oh, look, here's the facts of life. You know who pushed that bill over the top? The Republicans.
Yeah.
8 Republicans crossed the aisle and voted for that thing.
Yeah. Let them cross into Texas and see what happens to them.
I mean,
Thanks
that's
a lot,
the
guys.
outrageous thing about that whole deal. And they wonder why they are going to wander around the desert for the next 40 years looking for a quarter.
No, they're going to be looking for the jawbone of an ass.
Dave, thanks for your call.
Thanks a lot.
All right. John in New Mexico. Hello, John.
Good afternoon, and thank all 3 of you. You're all dead right on points. John, first, you're dead right on, I believe, in my opinion, about Sarah Palin. Thank you for your insight. It's kind of hard to have a sense of humor, which I think she's always tried to do, but low IQ people, sometimes do that.
Yeah.
Robbie, I just have to ask Robbie a quick question. Does this? He mentioned this is a long time thing, a coming a long time gone. Does Bandung and what happened in Africa in the 70s make any connection to this socially, to what's going on with these Democrats here in this country now?
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, I'm watching history repeat itself firsthand. And unfortunately, I've seen the future, and the future doesn't look too bright at this point in time.
Robbie, let me ask you this, because now we have Eric Holder and the merry band of brown renown, I guess, in Washington, D.C. But they're calling people that are trying to restore the republic through the Constitution, that are yelling about Second Amendment rights, that are against abortion and all. These are the extremists. Did you see a similar pattern of the government backing all the little Marxist and commie ideas down in South Africa? Did you see a similar thing, the government parroting that line down there?
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. And it was very effective in what it did. It shut down any dissent. People Stop talking about politics in open public to the point where you didn't even trust friends and family members in case they were sympathetic to the government's cause and may be disturbed by some things you said and decided to do their civic duty and pick up the phone and make a call. Yeah.
Quick
Sure.
question for Bob, if I could. I know he's having trouble. Bob, will the Democrats stop worshiping the false god, the golden jackass? Will they come across the aisle? Well, they will at some point, but do you think they will do before it really gets nasty?
Gee, it's hard to say. It all depends on how much they want to die.
Well, and I've said this before, John, the redemptive factor here is for the Senate to go ahead and do the Fed audit thing. Let's crack that little can of worms open. If there's any redemption here at all, it would be doing that, at least so we can take a peek into the books of the Federal Reserve. But also keep this in mind. They know that the majority of the American population, they're frustrated, they're angry. And if they tried to slip out of the Senate or Congress by the back door, they're afraid somebody's going to be there to slip a noose around their neck as they come out the back door.
Well, they should know that the American people, still adhere to somewhat, although they've been dumbed down to the Constitution. And I just say the last thing that I'm seeing. I think what's going to come out of his administration next is a multiple choice test for all of the dumbed down people in the country, and it's going to consist of two questions: which would you rather have, the USAA, the United States of Affirmative Action, or would you like to have the USSA, which is the United Systematic Socialist State? And then, I win in both cases.
There you go. Hey, John, thanks for your call. I appreciate it. We'll snag one more call and close out this Tuesday edition of the National Intel Report.